Testing, 1, 2, 3, testing. I think I got this. Hello everyone, how are you? I hope you're doing well. You can feel free to drop me a note if you want to tell me how you're doing. I'm going to pull up our passage. I'm letting a couple more people get on here. There's a couple things, I've had a couple people ask about different ways that yoga can boost your immune system. How is it that yoga boosts your immune system and helps you fight viruses, infections, things like that? And so I'll go over a little bit of that while we're waiting for folks to be able to get on. And then I've also had a few things that I really felt like I should share, things that I have been a really big help to me. And so I'll go over those things too. First thing I wanted to go over while we're waiting for folks to get on, I know I have mentioned this. I mentioned this in the very first one of these I did on March 14th, but I wanted to mention it again. If you don't have a neti pot, get one. With pollen season, especially here in South Carolina, pollen season is one of the worst things that you can go through, and it'll weaken your immune system just because your body is trying to fight that pollen. It's trying to fight a foreign invader that's causing inflammation. So if you can, get a neti pot, flush your sinuses regularly. That will help keep, first of all, it's going to help flush anything else you have trapped in your sinuses. It'll help flush that out, and it's also going to help you flush that pollen out, which will help you fight the viruses, because your body's going to be better equipped because it's not trying to fight the pollen. Another thing as well, there are a lot of, I know I have mentioned essential oils as part of your practice just to help get you into a proper mindset, but there are also a lot of healing properties in essential oils. And so take advantage of those as well. There are a lot of essential oils that are proven to kill viruses. And that shouldn't surprise us, right? Because God created his planet to function best in its natural state. And so he has given us science and medicine and all of those things to help us improve on those things and refine them. But if you're looking for a natural way to kill viruses and things like that, I do highly recommend essential oils as well. So the other benefit, I've gotten a lot of questions about why yoga and why now, why I'm recommending yoga. The reason why I'm recommending it is, and why I'm doing this during our coronavirus time. First of all, it keeps our bodies moving, which is essential for all of our functions. And the second thing is that it also helps you boost your immune system because it stimulates blood circulation, which draws in oxygen all throughout. And I mentioned this all throughout our sessions, but the benefit to that is that it keeps everything moving. So again, it allows your body to flush viruses that it's already been exposed to, and then it creates, oh hey, Pat Chan is watching us from her office live. Pat Chan, if you guys don't know, my best friend is in Hong Kong, and she's able to watch our class on the other side of the world, so that's wonderful to have you. I miss you. And so anyway, that being able to stimulate your organs, your lymphatic system, all of those things, also just the movement of your body, squeezing your organs out, is helpful to draw fresh oxygen throughout your system as well, which also brings healing oxygen. And so those are ways that you're physically going to be able to fight these viruses. So I just wanted to give you that, guys, that. Another thing I wanted to mention, oh, I have a fan. Another thing that I wanted to mention is that, I got hearts going all over the place. Another thing that I wanted to mention was that our bodies don't function properly when we're sitting all of the time. Things settle into our bodies, and we tend to carry them for a longer period of time. And I mean, toxins and things like that tend to settle in our tissues. And so another thing that that yoga does is it helps squeeze those out and get them moving again. So just a few different ways why we're doing this. Big thing, somebody else asked me today if these classes are paid. They're not, they're free. I'm doing them live so that as many people as I can. This is one way that I can help fight from my home. This is one way that I can better equip my friends and family to fight this, and to maximize the time that you have locked away at your house. I just got word that South Carolina is going on not shut down, but shelter in home on Thursday of this week. And so I don't know about you guys, but that immediately made me think, oh great, now what? I've got all these jobs pending. How in the world am I going to finish them? How am I going to get out of town for work? What in the world's going to happen? And one way that yoga helps us is that it helps us to relieve that tension. By intentionally breathing, our heart will naturally calm. And it's going to flush all, when you have those thoughts, you're flushing adrenaline, you're flushing all of these chemicals into your body, and your body holds on to them because it's trying to protect your organs. It'll hold on to water, it'll hold on to all these things because you're afraid, and so your body's going to respond to that. So by doing yoga, just the simple act of breathing properly is going to stimulate our bodies to function in reality. Then the other thing too, the mindfulness, the quietness of the meditation time and the quietness of the atmosphere and things like that, the quietness of the time that we have to be intentional about our exercise is going to discipline our bodies to live in reality and discipline our minds to live in what's going on now and to maximize our opportunity for stewardship at this moment. Not to be afraid of what's coming, but to better prepare for what's coming in this moment. We may not live to see the next one, but we have this one, and so we can make good use of it. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you guys because it really is an encouragement. When we have stress, it actually reduces our ability to fight viruses. It actually lowers and weakens our immune system. And I have posted an article about that. I'm sorry, I keep saying article, but it's a podcast by my friend in Texas who is a gut specialist. And she does a lot of research and posts a lot of information about gut health and stress and how those two things impact each other. And so I do encourage you to reference that on how stress impacts your immune system, but the reality is it actually does. And so offering these classes, offering them for free, making them accessible, not only is it building community for us, but it's also better equipping us for our fight against this virus. So not just this virus, other viruses as well. The flu, like I said, allergies, any of those things that your body has to deal with. So our passage tonight is the same passage that we have been covering the past several nights. I think this is maybe day 5 in this passage. Comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and cry to her that her warfare is ended, that her iniquity is pardoned, that she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. Every valley, and I'm just skipping through the different verses that highlight God's promises and his assurances to us. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and the rough places a plain. And the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. The grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of our God will stand forever. Behold, the Lord God comes with might, and his arm rules for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his recompense is before him. He will tend his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arms. He will carry them in his bosom, and gently lead those that are with young. Who has measured the waters in the hollow of his hand, and marked the heavens with a span? enclosed the dust of the earth in a measure, and weighed the mountains in scales, and the hills in a balance. Who has measured the Spirit of the Lord, or what man shows him counsel? Who did he consult, and who made him understand? Who taught him the path of justice, and taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding? To whom then will you liken God, and what likeness will you compare to him? Do you not know? Do you not hear? Has it not been told to you from the beginning? Have you not understood from the foundations of the world? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like a curtain and spreads them like a tent to dwell in. Lift up your eyes on high and see who created these, and who brings out their hosts by number, calling them by name, by the greatness of his might, and because he is strong in power, no one is missing. Have you not known? Have you not heard? The Lord is the everlasting God, the creator of the ends of the earth. He does not faint or grow weary. His understanding is unsearchable. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has might he increases strength. Even the youths shall faint and be weary, and the young shall fall exhausted. But they who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. I'm going to open us in prayer and we'll get started. Dear Lord God, I thank you so much for our time together. I thank you so much for this class. I thank you so much for the opportunity to learn together, to grow together, to be strengthened, and to build one another up. I pray, God, that you would use this class to that end, that those who watch it, those who are learning from it, Lord, would be encouraged and emboldened and strengthened both physically, Lord, as well as spiritually, that they would better be prepared to fight not just this virus, but so many other things as well, Lord, because of the time that we spend together here. And I pray, God, that you would help us to continue to use this opportunity of stewardship for your honor and glory. And I ask all these things in your name. Amen. All right, I'm going to turn this up a little bit. You guys can see my Christmas lights are starting to go out, so we're going to need a little bit more light in here. I don't know what I'm going to do if they go out. Those are my tools. So I want you to root down into all four corners of your feet. Shoulders up, back and down. We're going to roll our shoulders back here a little bit. Inhale, arms up. And stretch. And hold. And exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up. And stretch. And hold. And exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up. And stretch. Exhale all the way to the right. Hanging heavy. Ribs knit together. Belly button tucked up in your heart space still. Move those hips aside and make some space here. Opening up that left side body. Scrunching that right side body. Inhale back to center. Reaching up to the sky. Exhale to the left. I mentioned my friend Pat Chan, and I just wanted to let you guys know we have just gotten to the point where we are on lockdowns and shutdowns, and it's starting to affect our jobs. Pat has been working from home for months on the island of Hong Kong, and so she has been going through this for much, much longer, and she has been such a huge encouragement, a huge supporter. I was just blown away by that last night, and I didn't want to pass up the opportunity to tell her thank you, because she has been going through this a lot longer than we have. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward, hinging at your hips. Hang heavy here. Reach those palms to the mat. Bend your knees here at first. If you want to make progress in this pose, I know everybody feels like if you stretch yourself even more, you're going to make progress faster, but the reality is if our bodies are not ready for that, we're actually going to restrict blood flow, and we're going to distort our spine. So if we take advantage of our opportunity here and we make space in our spine by bending our knees and not pulling ourselves into an arch position, we bend our knees, we allow that blood flow to increase, we're going to get the blood much quicker to the areas that are necessary for us to be able to straighten out later. So take your time here, hang heavy, breathe. Grab opposite elbows and sway from side to side. Again, bend your knees back and forth. Make some space in that spine. Move your hips back and forth. Make some space there. Now, as she should be a little bit deeper now after making that space, go ahead and press your palms into the mat. And if you have to lean forward in order to do that, lean forward in order to do that, and bend your knees if you need to. But the idea here, shift that weight to your palms. Inhale halfway. Exhale back down. Inhale halfway. Exhale back down. Inhale halfway. Exhale back down. Inhale slowly all the way back up. Inhale, arms up. Stretch up towards the ceiling. Exhale, cactus arms. And just breathe here with your gaze forward, your crown high. I wanted to tell you guys a story about about our social distancing situation here. So my mom called today about an insurance situation she's been trying to straighten out for months, and it just hasn't taken. Everything she's done just seems to disappear. And so she finally called about it today, and she was on hold for some time, so she had the phone on speaker, and the lady answered. And you could hear a baby crying in the background. She was very professional, but there was a baby screaming in the background. There were dogs barking. And it was just so funny because we realized everybody's working from home these days. Not everybody can. And so this is another opportunity for those of you who can't work at home or whose work is on the front lines out there. I hope this class is a benefit to you as well, to better equip you as you are tackling this from the front end and taking care of your family. Exhale, arms together. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Pressing those palms together. Pressing your elbows together. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. Exhale, closed. Inhale, open. And now I want you guys to interlock your fingers like we did yesterday. I want you to interlock your fingers back behind your head, keeping your crown high, your shoulders up, back, and down. I want you guys to slightly and gently pulse your elbows to the back of the room. I had a lot of people say that this was their favorite one from last night, and I realized that we must need this a lot. So gently just pulse your elbows, and I'm going to scoot forward here so that you can see a little bit closer. We're not flapping our wings. We're not pulling our elbows forward. There's going to be a time for that. That's not what we're doing now. Right now, we're just gently pulsing those elbows back. We're not drawing them forward. We're letting them naturally bounce back and just pulsing them back. This is just a gentle way to open up your shoulders, open up the space in your spine. And I'll step back. And now we're going to exhale. We're going to one large inhale here. And we're going to exhale all the way to the right with our fingers still interlocked behind our heads. Again, with the number of people I had tell me that this was a benefit, I figure our bodies must need it. Keeping that elbow to the back of the room. Inhale back. Exhale left. Keeping those elbows pulled back. Inhale back. Now we're going to exhale, mountain pose. Let the blood flow back. Now I can't do it because I'm on camera, but if it helps you guys to sway back and forth, do that. It helps me keep everything loose. The other thing too, we have a tendency to lock our knees, which again restricts blood flow. There is never a time in a yoga class, there's never a time in anything where you want to restrict blood flow throughout your body. That's your life juice. You want that to keep flowing. I say there's never a time. If you're bleeding out, yes, restrict the blood flow. Otherwise, the rest of us don't have to worry about that. You want to make sure that blood is healthy. So if you're ever bleeding out, you've got enough in storage. So we want to make sure that we're improving our blood health. That's another benefit that will help equip you to fight viruses and things like that, is just the increased blood flow is also going to help create a stronger heart. So the more you do this regular exercise, the stronger your heart is going to get, the better equipped you're going to be at fighting all kinds of things, just because your entire body is going to be stronger. We're going to inhale, arms up again. And now we're going to exhale up and back. Again, we're not arching our back this way because that's going to create compression in our spine. We're moving that arch further up our spine, up towards our shoulders. So that's where that comes from. Not in our lower back. This bend comes up between our shoulders. Ribs still knit together. If you find yourself splaying out, come back to center. Inhale and exhale back. Inhale back to center. Exhale, swan dive forward again, hinging at your hips. Nice and heavy here. This time we're going to pull ourselves a little deeper. Huge benefit of this pose, it sounds silly, but we're letting blood flow to our brain. We were just talking about the healing powers of oxygen in our blood. Well, if you get that to your brain, how often is the rest of your body under your heart? Or I'm sorry, how often is your head under the rest of your body or your heart? So if you're able to move your head down low, you're allowing that blood from your upper body to flow into that. And we're going to do that with legs up a wall again later for your digestive system. But this is one of the most critical things you can do here. Letting blood flow to your brain. Again, it's going to reduce a whole lot of junk going on in there because it's going to bring healing oxygen, which is going to reduce inflammation and get that blood flowing. It's going to improve your brain function, which is going to help you when you're scared. We actually lose our ability to function and think when we're operating from a place of fear. There's a whole lot of science behind that. We won't go into that now because this isn't a science class, it's a yoga class, but please Google it. there yet? Ask a science teacher. They're eager to hear from their students these days. Inhale, slowly all the way back up. Shoulders up, back and down. Rotate those shoulders back. And I'm going to step to the back of the mat. We're going to inhale, arms up again. Exhale, hands to heart center. Finding your center here, shoulders up, back and down, ribs still knit together, belly button tucked up in your heart space, rooting down into all four corners of your feet. We're going to exhale our right foot forward into a lunge here. So again, everything active, core strong, crown high, back leg engaged, front leg engaged, squeezing those thighs together. Inhale, arms up. Nice and strong here. We're going to hold this longer than we normally do. Again, we're trying to build our focus, build our strength. The more you breathe into this pose, the more you get comfortable with the discomfort, the less you're going to have to fear. So as you reach up higher, you're going to be reaching up so high that you slightly tip back. Hips shine forward. Open up, lower down, warrior two. Shoulders up, back and down. Ribs still knit together. Open your palms up towards the ceiling. Exhale, reverse your warrior. Inhale, back to center. Interlock those fingers back behind. Pull your shoulders back and down. Right now, we're not going to worry about humble warrior. That's what's coming next. But right now, we're just working on pulling our shoulders away from our ears. Everything nice and strong here. Squeezing those thighs together. Exhale, hinging at your hips. All the way forward into humble warrior. Lifting those elbows high. Inhale, back to center. Straighten up that front leg. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, warrior two, arms, and we're going to dip into triangle. So open up those palms towards the ceiling, and then we're just going to tip into a triangle pose. So feel how that stretch changes. Now it moves to the back of this leg. Gaze up towards those top fingertips. Now we're going to rotate back, still maintaining those triangle legs, and we're going to exhale into that front leg. Inhale, back to center. Open up those feet to the outside And I'm actually going to open up facing you. You guys don't have to change directions. Inhale, arms up. Both feet facing the sides of your mat. Exhale, swan dive forward. Hinging at your hips. Pull yourself nice and deep here. Again, press your palms into the mat if you can. Open your legs up nice and wide. Hang heavy. Crown low. Inhale halfway. Exhale back down. Inhale halfway. Exhale back down. Inhale halfway. Exhale back down. Walk those hands over to the left leg. Hang heavy here. Inhale back to center. Exhale, walk those palms over to the right leg. Hang heavy here. Inhale back to center, hang heavy. Crown low. If you can touch your head to the ground, do that. Inhale halfway. Exhale back down. Inhale slowly all the way back up. Shoulders up, back and down. Step your feet together. Pedal your feet and your knees and step it out. Now you guys should be back at the back of your mat. I just took a side note here so that you could see what I was doing. Make sure you wiggle your ankles here. Give those a nice roll. Roll your shoulders. Wiggle your hips. We just put some tension in there. Sway back and forth if it helps you. Rooting down into all four corners of your feet. Shoulders up, back and down. Ribs knit together. Belly button tucked up in your heart space. Inhale, arms up. And stretch. Exhale, hands to heart center. Step that left foot forward into a lunge. Nice and tight here. Everything engaged. Your back leg is engaged. Your front leg is engaged. Squeezing those thighs together. Palms pressing towards your center. Crown high. Core engaged. Tailbone softened towards the floor. So you're actually lining up your spine here. So picture your tailbone reaching towards the floor. Does that take tension off of your lower back? We have a tendency to arch. It's not what we're doing here. We're engaged. We're utilizing everything in our body. We're not dependent on any one member. We're strengthening the entire thing. Inhale, arms up. Shoulders up, back and down. Lower those shoulders along the spine. Open up that heart space. Heart lifted. Crown high. Reaching so high that you gently reach back. Back leg engages even deeper. Front leg squeezes even tighter. Tailbone softens even more. How does that feel? How much stronger do you feel when you soften that tailbone? And the parts of your bodies that are supposed to engage, engage. Shoulders down along that spine. Next breath, lower down, open up, warrior two. Opening up that back foot. Everything engaged here. Shoulders up, back, and down. Opening those palms up towards the ceiling, reverse your warrior. Inhale back to center. Crown high, shoulders up, back, and down. Gaze forward, open those palms up again. Now we're going to interlock our fingers back behind, pull our shoulders back and down. Again, the goal here is to pull the shoulders away from the ears and find your center. We'll worry about humble warrior in a second. Our time will come, and we'll be better equipped to handle it when it does if we're focusing on our alignment now. Pull those shoulders back. Exhale, humble warrior. Lift those elbows high. Inhale back to center. Straighten up that front leg. Open those arms to the side. Find your center one more time. Open your palms up, hinging at your hips. Exhale to your straight leg forward. Triangle pose. Everything engaged. Gaze up towards those fingertips. You can see this leg is tight today. Exhale back down. Hang heavy on that front leg. Deeper on every exhale. Inhale back up. Open up both sides to the side of your mat. Both feet to the side of your mat, sorry. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward again, hinging at your hips. Your breath is heavy here. This time we're going to shift open from side to side. So you're going to open, lower down, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, open up that outside foot, pulling those toes tight to your knee. Inhale, exhale, open those toes up, pulling those toes tight to your knee. Do you see what we're getting ready for, folks? Flying monkey is just around the corner. Inhale back to center, hinging at your hips, hanging forward. Pressing those palms into the ground. Lower your head even deeper. Inhale halfway. Strong flat back. Exhale back down. Inhale halfway. Strong flat back. Exhale back down. Inhale halfway. Strong flat back. Exhale back down. Inhale slowly all the way back up. One vertebrae at a time, shoulders up, back, and down. Step your feet together, pedal your feet and your knees. Rolling those ankles, rolling your shoulders. Swaying your hips, making some space here. Take up a lot of room. This is your house, right? Take up as much space as you want. Just picture this is a slapping your kids factory. So just line them up, have them walk through the line, back the other direction. Now we're spanking your kids. Making that space. Good, good, good. Back and forth. Lots of movement. And back. And now we're going to stretch our neck a little bit. I'm going to come forward so that you can see. Pressing the crown of our head up towards the ceiling. Shoulders back and down. Palms forward. You're going to lower your right ear to your right shoulder. Give yourself a bind here, just wrapping your right arm around behind, lowering that shoulder even deeper. And just extend that left arm out a little bit. And if you can't see, my palms are forward, but it just deepens that stretch and it moves it down your arm a little bit, doesn't it? Inhale back to center. Wrap your left arm around behind. Exhale your right to the side. You're going to give yourself a bind there. Lower your left ear to your right shoulder. Open that right arm out a little bit further. Deepen that stretch. Again, we're just maximizing the opportunity to stretch our bodies here. Inhale back to center. Interlock your hands behind your head. Now we're going to give ourselves a nice tug forward, but we're going to allow our head to come with. So you're going to exhale your arms together and pull that head forward, exhaling as you move your skull forward. So exhale forward, nice and heavy. Inhale back. How nice was that? Roll your neck, roll your shoulders. Now I'm going to step to the back of the mat. Rooting down into all four corners of your feet, shoulders up, back and down, ribs knit together, belly button tucked up in your heart space. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, swan dive forward, hinging at your hips. Walk out into a downward dog. Pushing those shoulders away from your ears, squeezing those biceps to your ears. This is an inner rotation on our shoulders. So we're squeezing in and pressing those shoulders back along our spine. Pressing your hips up towards the sky. Everything engaged. Lower down into a plank. And I changed my mind. I'm going to go sideways so that you guys can see this full thing. You're going to lower down into a forearm plank, Keeping your elbows rooted and your palms rooted, you're going to rotate your hips from side to side. Breathing as you go. Lower down into a Sphinx pose. Crown high, heart lifted. Now we're going to tuck our knees. To do that, we're going to draw our knees up under us. So we're going to press down into that plank. Inhale, exhale, knees to your chest. Exhale, child's pose. Breathing here, releasing that tension. Rolling from side to side, giving your organs a squeeze, letting your spine release its tension. Inhale back to center. I've told you guys that for my continuing education, I'm taking 2 classes next month. I was going to take 1 class. The first class I'm going to take is actually a toes class. It's a class for your feet and how feet affect the health of the whole body. And so I'll be taking that class. Another class that I'm going to be taking, is grief and your hips. And so it's a class on how grief is carried in your hips. And so I'm hoping to make a really good use of that opportunity, and now knowing that we're going to be on lockdown here for another month, hopefully you guys will be able to get the benefit of that. So go ahead and tuck your toes. So set your backside on those heels. Give yourself a nice deep stretch here. And try to raise your knees up and lower back down. So you can press into the mat and just raise your knees up here, but that's not really stretching your feet. It's going to be helpful, but try to do that without touching the mat. Do as many of those as you can. Then untuck your toes and press back into the tops of your feet, lifting those knees nice and high. Lowering, lifting, nice counter pose. I'm going to scoot forward a little bit so that you guys can see. Again, lowering, lifting, lowering, lifting. Nice deep stretch here. Counter what we just put, all that tension we just put into our feet. We want to counter it. But what happens when we do that is we break up a lot of those tensions. You can imagine your feet carry the weight of your entire body all day. And because the rest of our bodies aren't properly engaged, we have a tendency to slump and dump into our feet. So a good portion of yoga is also strengthening the rest of your body to properly carry your weight. And what happens is, and I'm going to come up here, the teachable moment here. So these upper body muscles are some of the larger muscles in our entire body, but we don't work them. We don't strengthen them. We don't take the time. So a lot of downward dog is strengthening that upper body, strengthening these parts of your body to carry their weight. So when we're doing that, we're allowing our body to lift itself up and to carry your weight properly. If we don't, we typically don't, we dump into our feet, our ankles, our knees, our hips, our lower back, and we end up with tension because they're carrying weight that they're not supposed to carry. So a good portion of what we're doing here is strengthening our body to carry its weight properly. So go ahead and come into a reclined position on your mat. Again, pull yourself tight with your knees, slowly lower down. Pull your knees tight to your chest, roll back and forth here. Again, we're breaking up tension. We want to control the tension that we put in our bodies. We're not victims of this. Roll back and forth. Loosen up those places that need to be loosened. Now we're going to extend our arms out to the side. Extend our legs up a wall. This pose right here is one of the best things you can do for a headache, because think of how much blood your legs store and how much they don't circulate throughout the entire body. That blood that gets stuck in your legs due to whatever tension we put there stays there. So if we draw our legs up like this, we allow that blood to flush down into our digestive system, as well as get closer and easier to pump to our brain. So we're flooding our body with warm blood and oxygen. And we're creating an opportunity for new, fresh blood to get back into our legs, bringing healing. Keep your legs apart. Press those heels up towards the ceiling. Pull your toes tight to your face. Now we're going to open those legs out and make big circles. You can see my hips are resisting, my knees are resisting. Breathe. Now reverse. And come back down. Windshield wiper those knees. Loosen up that lower back. I remind you that March was core month, so even though you guys only got 2 weeks worth of classes, a little more than 2 weeks worth of classes, there are those classes available on Beloved One Studios. You guys are welcome to check those out anytime you want. I had someone mention today that they thought that Beloved One was a paid class. There may be someday in the future where I'll have an online class that's a paid subscription, but not right now. These classes that we're doing now are free to help us all fight this coronavirus, as well as to be better stewards of our bodies. So that's what we're doing right now. We're better equipping ourselves for this fight. Healing our souls, strengthening for the future. And you're just going to rest with your knees up towards the ceiling again. We're releasing the tension from our spine. You can do cactus arms here if it helps you open up your heart space a little bit more. But feel how that neutralizes your spine and takes the tension off. Again, you're allowing your body to help your body. And now you're going to draw your knees up tight to your chest. Grab a hold of the outsides of your feet. Big wide circles. Happy baby. Again, we want to strengthen your core muscles, but we don't want to build tension in the body. There's a time for tension and there's a time for release. Just think of your lives that way. If you're running on go all the time, and your body just gets tenser and tenser and tenser, and I'm talking to myself here, that's what I've done my entire life. The body just gets tighter and tighter and tighter, and there is no release. It's bad stewardship. How often did Christ take his disciples into a place to rest? How often, even in our study together, even just since the 14th when we started these classes, even since then, how many times has the Bible told us to rest and to encourage and to comfort and to trust and not to fear? Now press those palms of your feet together, press your toes together, lower your knees into a bound angle. Again, soften your glutes here. Our tendency is to tense up here to press our knees, but we're not doing that. We're releasing tension. We're opening up our groin space, which carries so much tension, so much fear. If it helps you to put a block or a pillow up under your knees, do that. And now release back out all the way, letting your feet fall open. Let your palms open to the sides of your body. Up towards the ceiling in a receiving position. Fingers relaxed, toes relaxed. Breathing here. Nice deep breaths all the way into your lower belly. And exhaling all the way out. Inhaling all the way into your toes. Exhaling all the way out through your skull. Inhaling all the way in. Exhaling all the way out. Inhaling all the way in. And exhaling all the way out. And you guys continue breathing, and I'm going to read through our passage one more time. Again, this is from Isaiah 40, and we're just going to skip through and read some words that gives the basic structure of the encouragement from this passage. Comfort, comfort my people, says your God. Speak tenderly to Jerusalem and cry to her. that her warfare is ended, that her iniquity is pardoned, that she has received from the Lord's hand double for all her sins. Every valley shall be lifted up, and every mountain and hill shall be made low. The uneven ground shall become level, and rough places a plain. The Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh shall see it together, for the mouth of the Lord has spoken. The grass withers and the flower fades when the breath of the Lord blows on it. Surely the people are grass. The grass withers and the flower fades, but the word of our God will stand forever. Behold, the Lord comes with might, and his arm rules for him. Behold, his reward is with him, and his recompense is before him. He shall lead his flock like a shepherd. He will gather the lambs in his arms. He will carry them in his bosom and gently lead those that are with young. Who has measured the Spirit of the Lord, or what man shows him his counsel? Whom did he consult, and who made him understand? Who taught him the path of justice, and taught him knowledge, and showed him the way of understanding? All the nations are as nothing before him. They are counted by him as less than nothing and emptiness. To whom then will you liken the God, and what likeness compare to him? It is he who sits above the circle of the earth, and its inhabitants are like grasshoppers, who stretches out the heavens like the curtains and spreads them like a tent to dwell in. Who brings princes to nothing and makes rulers of the earth as emptiness? Lift up your eyes on high and see who created these. Who brings out their host by number, calling them by name? By name. You realize that? He brings out the hosts by number and calls them by name. All of these things that we're so intimidated and scared by, he knows every single one of them by name. He gives power to the faint, and to him who has no might he increases strength. Even the youth shall faint and be weary, and young men shall fall exhausted. But they who wait on the Lord shall renew their strength. They shall mount up with wings as eagles. They shall run and not be weary. They shall walk and not faint. And I want you to breathe with me. I'm going to inhale for a count of 4 and exhale for a count of 4. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Dear Lord God, I thank you so much for our time together. I thank you so much for everyone that was able to join us tonight. I thank you so much for the opportunity to move our bodies. I thank you for every heartbeat, Lord, that is here to declare your praise. I thank you so much for the birds of the air and the fish of the sea and all of those things that are just declaring your praise, Lord. Even this pollen that is suffocating us, it's just a declaration of your might and your provision. Lord, it's just so abundant and overflowing, and we just ask, God, that you would help us to trust you in this season. Help us to trust you in this time of despair. Help us to trust you in this time of challenge, Lord. I pray, God, that you would help us to keep ourselves strong, that you would help us to keep ourselves diligent, that you would help us to keep ourselves from sin and allowing fear and circumstances to dominate our lives. And I ask that you bless us this evening in your name. Amen. I pray that you guys will have some wonderful rest tonight. Thank you so much for joining me. I do ask that if you guys could, if you are enjoying these classes, if you go to App 11 Studios and like that page, it won't just help you, but it'll help other people who are already following it to be able to see more of these classes. You can do them if they're helpful. but that also helps other people to see. The more people I have following that page, the more people actually see the posts when I put them on there. So even folks who are following it now don't always see the posts because for some reason there's a Facebook algorithm that requires a certain number of people to be actively following it in order to show people the posts. So if it's a blessing to you, I ask that you do that. And if you think this would be a blessing to someone else, I ask that you share it. I will have a product line coming out. I've had a couple people ask, how am I supposed to make money if I'm doing my classes for free every night? I will have a product line coming out in April, and that's coming along great. I'm really excited about that. And then hopefully my classes will be up and running. And then at some point in the future, I'll have a subscription class available with recordings so that you can go in and, let's say you need to work on your hips. You can choose a series of videos on your hips or your shoulders or, you know, a part of your body or just a relaxation session or something like that. So all of that's coming in the future. But in the meantime, I just hope that you're using this as a time to better prepare yourselves to fight whatever battles you have ahead of you. So thank you again for joining me. I love you all, and I can't wait till tomorrow night.